here we go. First game is going to be in the NWL lexicon, and I will be going first. Okay, a little bit heavy on the duplicate vowels right now. Might just go something like this. Have a nice solid leave early, as well as the E hook on the end of that. Not going to restrict very much space, but that's okay. Priority should just be to dump some of this. The U and the V are going to be a bit of an issue here. We can potentially have a place to just play off something like VUM. Ideally, we want to get rid of the U and V at the same time for a decent amount of points. Still going to be fairly diligent, though, about looking at where else we can go. Yeah, given what we're looking at here, probably just going to stick to the plan. Not very many points, but you'll notice that the O does go in front here for ovum. Not that we have something that will go there right now, just given some of the continued doubling of our 1-point tiles. So, we'll just see how that goes. Yeah, so there's an O idea down here. There is the possibility of playing through to B if we take advantage of the E hook. That would make AWE over here. Potential plays over here as well, but the idea generally should be to get rid of some of the duplicate tiles and just draw towards our first bingo if we can. And yeah, Meng, welcome in. Meng, sorry to hear about the removal of the Flight of the Supernova level. I was hoping to play that. So if you still have it sticking around in the editor, we may have to coordinate something where you can do a temporary upload for me to just grab locally. But yeah, regardless, too bad to see that taken down before I managed to have a chance to get to it. A nice thing about boob, of course, is that if you have the letter Y, you can just do something with booby. Okay, not a lot of points there either. There is a bit of a danger here with parallels going down to the A, which I cannot take advantage of at all with what I currently have. Yeah, not exactly the best situation to work with here. I mean, ideally I'd do something here, but it's hard to take care of that without opening up something quite dangerous on the other side, so... let's see what we can do. Yeah, not really fond of many of my options here. We might just go this. I mean, this is still going to take a lot of heavy consonants, but NO is only going to take the O in front of it. Momentarily Sane, welcome. And yeah, definitely a very apt quotation for these circumstances. Okay, no particular locations where the Z can really drop some kind of bomb. At least not yet. Kind of looking around to see if there's some place we can go with that. But I may just need to wait for my opponent to give me something a bit better to work with here. Yeah, we might just go ZA down here. I mean, I don't particularly like the leave that we have, but 36 points on this kind of board, hard to argue with. We would basically tie it up, or come close to it. Z also goes down here. If, for example, you want to do something like this, that would leave the P hook up front. I don't really like the leave there either, though, with a doubled N. Let's just go with this. Yeah, this is almost something good. But too many N's. Unfortunately, I don't think you can be nunnier. You can try to play off the nuns somewhere, though, perhaps. And we'll see. We definitely want to get rid of the double N's, if we can. That should be the priority. But this board has kind of a weird shape to it right now, where the end of boob is actually, yeah, I was about to say, one of the high potential locations here. Having the Q there might actually be fine, because we can just go Quinn if we particularly... I believe that this is just a French word for shark. I think it might actually be good, but I think I want to keep the RE. We can also... you know, go down here somewhere, but I think the right idea here will be to get rid of the U since we have the Q available. Slightly fewer points, nearly a tied game still. But right now I'm just trying to manage the rack and get it into decent shape for some kind of big play. I'm kind of playing off too few tiles per turn, though. And not really keeping tiles that are good enough to take advantage of that. And Quinn, of course, takes quite a lot of stuff in the back, or at least takes the T. And... most of the threats, though, will probably be something like this or this. Probably something through here. Yeah, right now we really close this thing down because, you know, the V is a bit of an awkward tile to work with. Both the C and the V don't take any two-letter words in this dictionary, so there's nothing that's just going to go straight here or straight here. The fact that we've kind of locked down this corner with those pluralized boobs means that, you know, that's starting to lock up as well. The more dangerous locations would be, you know, if you have an S that would be able to go over there. I don't actually remember if BAM takes the S. I feel like it must, but these are difficult things to remember sometimes. Routed, I believe this actually takes some stuff in front, like maybe G or T or something. A whole bunch of things we don't have. The play here will be, first of all, to see if I can land the M in the bottom spots, like with something like name. I think that's a word. I'm not actually certain. It does get rid of all my vowels, but it does unduplicate some things. 21 points, 38 points. Yeah, we'll take it. I think this is a valid word. I'm not actually completely certain. But when you play enough of this game, some things just start to blend together, and so that's just a risk you have to take. Now, notice... ooh, Tallil. Very nice. Notice that I have a decent spot for the X over here. I think that's probably what I'll take. If I eventually have something that would end, like something OR or something IR, stuff like that would go. I think here, though, like we definitely don't want to spend a blank yet. We can keep something like RRIN blank. That's not the worst thing in the world. Oh, tactics. I've got to get the board, or rather the bot, running. I completely forgot to run that, so let me just try that, and we'll find out in just a moment if it's actually a valid word. There we go. It's an East Indian tree. Lovely B hook on that. Not that it will go down on this board, but I love that B hook. No, thanks for catching me on that, actually. I am not always on the ball. Okay, now I can actually take a look at my rack to see if we have anything here. Obviously, we're looking for S hook on Toggle. Not going to be E, because I believe the only thing that would be re-risen. This has got to be something. Ringers, yeah. And no need to worry about the extra Q-bomb over the eye. I don't know if there's something better here, but we will take it. Notice that both the B's are already down, but if you used the other blank as a B, you could do something here, or I think if you have a W hook would go there as well. Ooh, wow. Huge hit there with the H for 38 points. I'm not ahead by very much, even after the bingo. Very vowel heavy. Kind of looking at things I could do down here, perhaps, but it's going to be a little bit awkward. EN is the thing that's a bit of a sticking point here, in that it doesn't take very much at the end of it. So, let's see. I mean, I don't want to just dump very few tiles, but too many vowels left. I don't like that. Yeah, ideally, I could get rid of some vowels here. Looking at this as well, since I have the potential for an LY ending. But we may need to just dump vowels somehow. AAIL? Yeah, don't like that. Maybe... Yeah, a bit more of a challenging turn, this one. Maybe if I just do something like that and just extend down. That's not too bad. I mean, I'm not ahead by very much, though, so it's not like... or maybe this would be better, yeah. Would take a T on the end. 10 vowels, 21 consonants in the bag, so I would assume that some of the vowel consonant balance should even out. It's probably not the best play. I feel like I probably missed something that would take me over there, or perhaps over here. But we're just kind of opening up space right now. I kind of like the idea of just going back over here just to dump some of this stuff. And... yeah, I might as well. The spot's open. Just going to look around quickly to see if there's a better alternative, but... I think we will go for that. There are some other ideas here, like AVE. Dev, of course, would take the I or the A at the end, if we want to do something like that. That might be better in terms of leave. But the bag is pretty consonant heavy, so yeah, considering this, 4 eyes in a bag, my opponent will probably jump on the V spots before I do. That actually opens up a bit of a bingo spot, so I think we'll take this. I'm not ahead by enough that it's clear what to do when it comes to opening or closing the board, I think. I mean, I don't want my opponent to bingo, obviously, with things like 2 S's and a blank still in the bag. Yeah, something like this, for example, would still open up. Oh, I spent my A, and I now don't have anything here, except a P actually still fits there, if we want to do something with a P, or a K, for that matter, but I don't really see that as being ideal. We just take points. I mean, I shouldn't be playing too fishy, because I'm not drawing into much with the blank still available. Yeah. I might go like IF over here. 4 eyes in a bag. I think we can afford to do that. It does open up the S down here, but this would be open to a whole bunch of stuff, like an E ending. On the other hand, that's something that I can follow up as well with the I hook on DEF. 2-point difference though, let's just go with this. With 4 eyes in a bag, yeah, I'm likely to draw more of those. If you look at the pool, it does look as though we should assume my opponent is building up to something. We might actually have done a bit of a favor here in terms of restricting potential space for something like an S or a T in a middle position. Because definitely the valet hook was a threat. Oh, we also now have the W for ringers, if that is good. I believe it should be. Unfortunately, I don't think I have anything to take that and use it. So my opponent's a little bit behind. He's going to spend an S, which implies something like a double S, or perhaps having the blank available. K does fit here if I want to do anything. I don't know, with blank S still unseen, I'm really reluctant to give him too much to work with here. I should still be looking at this too. I feel like that's easy to overlook. But I don't have anything like a 6. I don't think that would take me over there. Definitely looking around for that, but I don't really see it. Yeah, this would be something that keeps me ahead slightly, but it's way too risky with S blank still unseen. I don't like it. But then how do I score and stay ahead? Maybe just dump some tiles. That would be vulnerable to a T behind it. I feel like I don't want to be playing one at a time. This is a tough turn, I think. But right now, I think the priority should be to not make any of the threats on the board worse, right? Like, it's okay to score modestly if I'm not creating additional problems. And I think maybe that's the best way to think about that. Yeah, definitely trying to look at this spot here to see if I can do anything. Like, you know, something like a Inky. Maybe we can draw a T and go Twinkie on top of that. That might not be the worst idea, in fact. I think Twinkie is good with that spelling. Oh, hey, we got the blank. Okay, so that relaxes things a little bit. If you look at the pool, there are no E's in the pool, but the sort of possibilities for bingo are still there for sure, if you look at some of the combinations that are available. So yeah, I should be avoiding opening. I don't know how worried I should be about a lane off the V. I think I'm much less worried about it now that I have the blank. So, yeah, we'll just let my opponent take the initiative here. And just try to stay ahead with a few points at a time if we can. Yeah, because that at least diffuses anything that would hit me hard up there. I still like the idea of drawing into a T for Twinkie. I'm not 100% on that, but obviously we can do that with the blank as well once we get into endgame and know what we're dealing with. So you can see even with the blank it is 45 points. It could be something that actually does seal the win. That's assuming my opponent doesn't go for something like Stinky, actually. Because ST in front of that, that would be, what is it, 39 points? Yeah, I might actually want to burn the blank and take this quickly, because if my opponent sees something like Stinky, that could close things up really tightly. And bring it to a near tie, in fact, so that's something I should have considered before trying something like that, but I definitely like the idea of just burning the blank and going Twinkie. Because if I'm fairly confident that lanes are not an issue, like if I'm only dealing with one open lane, for instance, and if that one open lane is, oh, look at that, okay, he's going to take it. So yeah, he was definitely worried about some kind of extension there, or is also just managing to rack, given that you can see there is some potential there. I should be thinking about what the potential plays off the V actually are going to be, or I can just close it up. There are no consonants remaining that are really going to hit hard here. And even here, the worst thing I have to deal with going down this way would be something like a D. I wonder if there's something like a view tape. I'm not going to try that. But let's think about this. Is there something that could go with view here? Like if you have like a repeat viewing of something, is it a view-peat? No, it's not. If I think that's actually fine though. If I close up the lane and if I just, yeah, once again score modestly. I mean, it's probably better if I'm playing off those tiles to just do something small like this. Yeah, the 4 tiles in a bag, 3 tile play like that, that should be, in fact, okay. That's much better, in fact. I feel like this is something, or close to something. Not that it's going to go down, but, you know, in case my opponent tries to open up somewhere. I think doing this super defensive style is probably correct. Notice that we actually have access to the D here now, too, if we want to go 8 or something, or 8 to play off for 18. Opponent has 7 out of 8 of Instruct. Yeah, I was definitely kind of looking at this spot here to think, you know, like you would need TS to have a fit down here, so to take advantage of the valet hook. And so I wasn't too worried about that. I actually find in retrospect that it felt like a pretty good decision, assuming that I wasn't going to hit or get hit by something down here right away. So, and D is going to be the hardest hitting tile remaining on this spot here, so I feel like first choice play, depending on what my position is going into the next turn, should be something like this. And then we've got lots of options for out and two, I think. We should look at that carefully, of course, but I definitely see things like Dopa, with the blank, of course, Dopa afterwards, or probably Soap somewhere if we... or Opas. Appos. I mean, I'm looking at this location. We can look at whether there's an out and two that would fit over here. Again, depends entirely on what my opponent does and what lane we have to deal with, but I feel like something like this as a first choice play does leave me with a lot of potential options on a lot of board states. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Or if we don't do an out and two, you know, we can have something like Mopey over here. I think that's correct. Trying to think about with the APO blank, AOP blank, like whether there's something here. Or, I mean, you've got the S hook on art as well. That's still a possibility. You'd have to think on my opponent's end that while he sees the pool and sees that I'm probably not looking at anything too dangerous, that he does have an unseen blank on his side, so that's probably going to lead to a little bit of doubt in its own right. So yeah, we'll just see if we can make anything happen here. Yeah, I've been a very close board so far. Look at this. That I'm still under 330 going into one in the bag. And part of it is just because it was a really locked up defensive game from the start, with a couple of, you know, dangling S lanes at any given point, but they didn't tend to stay open for very long. And so staying ahead cautiously on a low-scoring board has been the thing to do here. Because usually I was able to knock things down to 1 or 2 lanes at a time. And it was just a matter of, you know, how confident we are with the small lead. I feel like something like Stinky probably could have hit me really hard here if I wasn't careful. But we will just have to think about that. Yeah, this was kind of an interesting play. I do wonder what he was looking at that point. Whether the S was done here mainly for points. I mean, obviously he didn't hold blank at that point, but if he was holding double S, that's something that might change that. Because this actually locks up pretty hard, and I don't know what else would have been among the options there. So, for example, if you were holding S, for instance, and you went like GE something that would fit here, and then he would open up a more flexible S lane for himself, I think. Although that came after if already, so it's not like you would have that much room to work with. You would still have to deal with if while sitting on one S, which would not go. So this really closed things up, but we'll have to see what the situation was. And it's a long turn. Maybe he is sitting on something like Instruct. But it's a tough position on his end, being 30 behind without really any hotspots to work with. I should think about the plan for if he decides to deny this spot here, such that I can't capitalize on it with a D. I need to think about my plan if that happens. Because, depending on what is remaining... I mean, we could still be looking at some potential stuff like Dopa or DAP. DAP is pretty good, actually, if S is already down, which it might not be. He's probably not spending the S if he's dumping something up here. But then that would also restrict the number of possibilities that would even go up here. Like, you'd basically be limited to stuff like NIT or RIN. Notice the T hook on F as well. I don't know if anything will become of that. But given that I'm holding blank, pretty much anything that opens up the triple row I should be able to punish. And he doesn't have a lot of options here as well. He only has the R to work with to go down this lane here, which I really doubt he would do. So yeah, long turn, understandably so, I think, given the situation that my opponent is in. It might be that he desperately wants to do something like a fish 1, or create something like a threat that would be difficult to block, but with blank in the bag, there isn't really anything that's truly safe. And I do have the ability to respond to just about everything. So yeah, he is going to go for valet. And this is the part when I try to remember what to do here with... Well, first of all, let's see if we have something... Like, I mean, there's the S hook on top of cuts, but, oh, wait a minute, let's just acknowledge the raid, first of all, as we get into the endgame. Thank you so much for the raid from Physics is Fun, who is a player of many games, GeoGuessr, crosswords, etc., and also lots and lots of Scrabble. Physics is Fun is actually mainly a Blitz player, so if you find the gameplay here a bit slow for your liking, that is where to go. And Jelamoka is very well identified. That's exactly the track. So thank you for all the follows. Yeah, we're just getting into an endgame here that I should be winning. Let me just see if my opponent actually has an out with anything, or something that would hit here. If not, I think the idea should be just to go here. And anything that my opponent can do, I should be able to follow up with something like soap or soap. And I should have the win. Let me just be absolutely sure about that. That's here is going to be 9 points and 15 points. Yeah, I'm fairly confident. So thank you once again for the huge wave of follows from fellow members of the Scrabble community. And Extra Typo, thank you for the endorsement of the piano playing as well, which I don't have set up to stream right now because I'm in a completely different place of the household from where the keyboard is. But we may have to get something going eventually, given that, well, the standards for people who are Scrabble streamers who play the piano are very, very high, as most of you know, especially if you've been watching Foundering's silent film festivals lately. Okay, so this should probably be a win. Yeah, I feel quite safe at this point. We have the S hook here, S hooks everywhere. I don't know, by the way, how many of you were aware of the quadrangle mode feature in the Wiggles Telestrator. I kind of discovered it by accident a few streams ago, and our good friend, 14 Domino. Found out about it on this stream last week. I don't think he knew that it was implemented. Okay, this is kind of interesting in that it actually does block off some of the stuff I was looking at. So can I actually go out here? I feel like I should be able to if I have something through here. This was very carefully thought out as a play that actually causes me a little bit of difficulty in terms of getting something down. Looking at 4s here, if I have anything that would go. And I do my best gaming. Thank you for coming by, and you have a good night. In the absence of an out, I will probably just dump sap or something over here. But I feel like there's probably something like a 4 or something that can go through here that I'm just completely blanking on right now. After talking up how safe my position was for an out and 2. Let's just take it. Not going to deal with that. Churro, you see one. Yeah, I missed it. So there we go. Just going to take the window, and that's going to be a pass. Okay, going to see how much time I have before the next pairings. These are club matches, and so there sometimes is some downtime between pairings, and I can have some time to go over the game. Yeah, no phonies over here. Oh, patio. Yeah, of course. It's funny because after all the piano talk, I was thinking, oh, piano doesn't fit, and patio would have been the obvious thing to look for. But that's how we lose sometimes. Thankfully not in this game, so. Okay, let me see how much time I actually have to look at the post-game before pairings come up, because we might have been the last group there. But we can at least step through the examiner really quickly. Yeah, we have a little bit of time, I think, if we're brisk about it. Okay, so Wiener, yeah, I was looking at small plays here just as rack management. I think I too heavily favor the 3-tile plays up front. What does my opponent have? He's going to go for the boob. And you can see how things just kind of... Oh, look at this. Maneuver with the OE. This is sort of interesting because this spelling is familiar to me. This spelling where you have the OEU and the ER, rather than the RE is not. So if we're properly looking for 9s through OE, well, that's not something you see every day. When was maneuver added? I have no idea. Yeah, that's a variant that I definitely wasn't familiar with, certainly not in NWL. Yeah, I was looking at the ovum side at this point. I think the Q was a bit of a problem. I think maybe he was hoping to draw into T or something here. I was actually looking at the E-hook here, and I, for some reason, didn't consider that, and went with the same tiles over there instead. What was I even looking at this point? Yeah, nothing was really that open. Oh yeah, no, I was thinking that this was maybe a threat, and that the O would, diffuse it slightly. Round 2 pairings are coming up quickly, so I'm just going to dash through this. The interesting stuff is endgame anyway, so I might come back to look at some of this stuff. I do want to see my opponent's racks quickly. Tolo was quite nice here, even if it did open up for my own thing later. Yeah, it took a little while to look at this rack here. I did not see that. Mirror with quints, that would have been quite nice. Anyway, just going to dash through this quickly because we might come back later to look at endgame if there's anything worth staring at, but I think we didn't really miss anything huge other than maneuver. Oh, I see what you mean by poach. Yeah, I see that. Well spotted. And physics used to be just maneuver, ER, and maneuver, RE. Maneuver, yeah. That's what I would have assumed, and I definitely would have questioned the other variants that we saw, so. Just one moment here, we got our next challenge. Next one, I believe, is also going to be an NWL game, given our opponent. Okay, high probability. This is something. Right? Centima. With a C, is that? Wait, let's see, I may be confusing this with something. This is what happens when you don't study. There's also, what is it? There's something like pneumatics and amnestic, right? And there's something else in there. Let's, because, yeah, so the thing I was looking at was amnestic. I was trying to remember if pneumatics was in there, which would make pneumatic good. And all of you who actually know your high probability words can potentially call me on this. And Jelamokas is, of course, quite correct about calling the soundtrack here. I'm trying to remember this because it's like semantic in there as well, right? Like if you have the S, amnestic, semantic. I was trying to remember if like something like pneumatics would be the other one, but unless I'm confusing it with something else that looks like that, which is entirely possible. But we'll see. I mean, obviously, we can think about that after we see what my opponent does. And in the meantime, also look at all the great things I can potentially do with the X. You know, if I go hex here or something, whoops, let's... Yeah, we can fantasize about all the plays that could potentially go down next turn if nothing catastrophic happens. So... we'll just have to see. A bit of a longish turn for something this early. I'll just assume that he's looking for something to string through the eye, perhaps, but... Anyway, in terms of what my next choice is going to be, I mean, obviously, if X spots are open, I should go for them. If not... well, let's think about that. Okay, just going to chill here in the meantime. Now, if I'm correct in remembering this is part of the 8 set I was mentioning earlier, it does mean that we might have a potential hook for it. Not this turn, obviously, but assuming that I don't just have a disastrous word knowledge. Anyway, just to scout ahead, you know, you have stuff like Hex, or... I mean, that's almost certainly best if it stays open, which I do not expect. But wow, he's got a long, long turn. I wonder what that's about, whether it's just a find that he's close to, or something like a genuinely difficult situation where not much is really going to happen. Yeah, just trying to look at what else could go. I mean, something like Calyx is actually fairly safe because stuff would go down this way. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't really like that. Well, I mean, I have the H for that, but... I mean, obviously that's not ideal. That's sort of on the assumption that most things with the X get nuked here. That's... So yeah, kind of a longish turn. I can sense all the way from here. Physics already thinking about how many Blitz games you could have fit into that 5 minutes. But let's see. Okay, so that's going to be... Oh, I mean, I can still go for the X idea. Like, the X isn't really landing on a bomb or anything, but that's still 50-something points. I think that's fine. Okay, we have something here. We have a whole bunch of stuff down here, like calories, carryols. I believe there should be a 7 in here as well. It's kind of a weird one, if I'm remembering correctly. Like, it's a weird 7 here, I think, that is something that you know from studying alphagrams, not from sort of rearranging prefixes. Obviously, something like carryols would be great. Exarchal, wow. Very nice. Yeah, I would have thought about Exarch. I don't think I would have seen Exarchal, though, unless I was looking directly at something like Exarch. I mean, you know, when you see hotspots for small plays with the X, it's very easy to, at least at my level, just have a bit of tunnel vision for that. Jump on that right away. I can never remember. Like, there's something similar here with an N. Like, I think with an N, that's what it is. Oh, you know what? This is like Kohler's. What am I doing? Like, that's... You know, if we want to take advantage of the S hook on Pneumatic, which I believe is good. Obviously... Yeah, I think Carryols is going to be first choice if it's available. The nice thing about the C here is because no parallels are going to go down either way. Unless he's playing directly off to C, I will have something. Okay, this is blocked, but we now have calories through here. So unless I have something that I would prefer to play through the G, I think calories is actually going to be correct. Yeah, just looking at the G quickly, just to be absolutely sure. No, we'll take it. Fastens. Not that we have any place for it. But, you know, if something opens up... no, yes, we do. Pneumatics. We actually still have the S hook available there, so... Fastens should be fine. And yeah, extra typo, the Telestrator quad mode just completely changed, well, the effectiveness of the Telestrator. I think it's just so much better. Given that when I was doing the freehand thing, if I know how to turn it off, well, I don't know how to turn it off and I don't particularly want to, but when I was doing this freehand drawing, I was constantly doing boxes anyway. They were just really sloppy boxes, right? Like I was drawing lines, I was drawing, you know, boxes around corners. But this is so nice. I don't know if you folks have tried out much of the alternate board and tile skins that they've put in yet. For some reason, when I look at some of the more naturalistic textures that they put in for the alternate boards, the grid lines somehow look skewed for me, like they're curved or something. And I'm pretty sure it's just an optical illusion, because when I actually go through the Telestrator and used quad mode, everything looks fine. But I was playing around with some of the alternate skins, and that was something I was running into. That, for some reason, it just looked like the board was bulging out at me or something, and I don't know what it was about the line art that was doing that. I think it actually is a known optical illusion, but it might just be me. And yeah, Churro, you know what I'm talking about. And that's one of the reasons I just switched back to the default for streaming purposes, because I've just gotten so used to it in recent weeks. And Jellomokas was saying usually the T is silent in telestration or in something else. Sorry, I just completely missed out on what you were saying there. Yeah, we're going fastens here, unless there's something better. I mean, yeah, some potential for a bomb here, but I think the right play is obviously going to be the bingo. Usually the T is silent in fastens. Really? I don't know if that's just a regional dialect thing. I've said the T in fastens pretty much all my life. Fastens? Fastens? If you're fastening something? I don't know. Fastens. I'm not going to think too hard about that. Oh, I only just saw that fastens, like it would be a fatness as well, not that fatness would fit in too many places. Unless... No. There's no S here, so... And Foundering, thank you for coming by. Foundering, of course, an excellent word game plus piano streamer. Highly, highly recommended. But I think that's known to most of you already, with all the people who came in from the physics raid that previously was fueled by the Foundering raid. So there's been, if not exactly a full circle here, then certainly some kind of arc of development. And yeah, it's fascinating. Like, the old Gershwin classic, fascinating rhythm. Which is exactly the kind of thing you would expect to associate with ragtime and a clown car. That's very true. Speaking of which, we should probably do something about the U situation here. Yeah, if it weren't for the situation that we have with the U, I would have wanted to go like Hardy or something, but I'm not keeping UU or EUU out of this kind of thing. This is also the place where the Collins players kind of look at this and wish that FY were something available, but apparently not. Okay, let's see what I can do here. If there is something like a place or like, I'm thinking like something like RYU. I don't know if I want to leave the triple triple open because that's one of the ways I can lose a 150-point lead. But I don't really see very many options. I mean, unless I come down with the H or something. And nice thing about coming down with the H is that if I don't spend the Y, so for example, if I do something like, whoops, Q, I mean, I actually do have the Y hook if I want to do something useful with it. That might actually not be the worst idea to keep the Y out of that. Get rid of one U, diffuse the potential triple triple, maybe. I may be thinking about this completely the wrong way because objectively I think that leave is not ideal. But I mean, this is basically going to be my hook, right? Let's just do it just to see what happens. Okay, that's going to happen. That's probably not good Scrabble, but we'll work with it somehow. Hugh obviously is still going to take some things in the end, like a D, which maybe I should have done something with in the first place. Foundering, it's kind of an interesting claim that you're making about fascinating rhythm being neglected. I wonder if it's just because it is just naturally something quite challenging. Like, I don't really know sometimes because the standards book percolates a little differently depending on whether people are specializing in, like, trad jazz or if they're doing stuff like, you know, like a lot of modern jazz jams that I think get a little overly informed by what made it into the real book. And then, you know, you have a couple of the Gershwin tunes that sort of slowly slid out that way, but... I mean, I know that the syncopation and fascinating rhythm isn't, like, really out of the ordinary or anything, if you're familiar with ragtime, but... I kind of wonder in something like a jam format, you can kind of see why it might have slowly gone into decline. And it is such a wonderful piece, though. Yeah, I mean, you know, something like I Got Rhythm was, of course, just sort of cemented by the... we're looking at something like Turdy, by the way. That's not the turdiest imaginable play, I don't think. Yeah, something like I Got Rhythm, of course, was just kind of cemented by the number of... Turdy's probably not good, is it? I don't know. Seems like a bit of a turdy play. But, you know, if you had a P or something, I'm not burning a blank on this, but something like Purdy. 47 points when we're ahead by this much, that's actually not the worst thing to burn the P on. Have I seen Jacob Collier's version of Fascinating Rhythm? I may have. I'm trying to think. I've seen a lot with Jacob Collier, but I don't know if I've seen him play that specifically. Sort of looking at this for the OUT. I don't think you can be an out dryer, unfortunately. Even if you do run the dryer over and over. I still like this. 36 tiles in a bag, I mean... I don't really want to burn the blank for something like a sub 50 point play, but I wonder if it's actually correct to do so. Like, it's a little counterintuitive. I think it's probably, I don't know, listening too much to what Matthew O'Connor has been saying lately about actually allowing yourself to burn the blank sometimes in situations like those. That may be a very inaccurate paraphrase, but you get the idea. Yeah, it's trying to see if there's maybe something I can do down here as well. You know what, let's just do it. I don't know if I actually have something, like, I'm not confident enough in Turdy. That looks, I feel like I would have seen Turdier as a high probability 7 that would be very memorable. Obviously, P hook and F hook here, I'm a little bit wary of. No P's left in the bag, though. Let's take it. We can regret it afterwards. I almost never used a blank like that, but I wonder if it's actually a problem with my play that I don't use a blank like that. Yeah, because now I can regret that immediately, right? Because, you know, if we actually still had the blank, we could have made a Q play over here, for instance. Anyway, Extra Typo approves of the play, so I'll take that. Ooh, leaf here. Obviously it would be nice to get rid of the Q now, but let me see about here, whether Z will do anything for me. I don't know. I feel like this is not actually too much of a threat, and that's, you know, dumping the Q somehow is probably a right. Do I have some place for like something like sports or? Yeah, if I keep a ZO, I still have a Z spot later on. Obviously, we don't have the Collins Z words available. I feel like I should prioritize dumping the Q and shedding some consonants. Just looking at this and thinking, you know, what can we actually potentially do with the Z? Either way, we would probably need to draw 2 tiles to do it. N in the bag, E in the bag. We can, you know, kind of pretend that something is going to happen with the Z there. Minor adjustment, anyway. Rootery. Oh, I didn't think about that. That would have also involved the blank, but it would have shed some of the additional consonants, I guess. Or I'm trying to think back to what I was holding. Yeah, I guess if I thought harder about how to shed the D, that would have been something. It's funny because I was actually thinking of hurdy-gurdies because we were talking about music from a century ago. Thank you for follow. I was actually thinking about hurdy-gurdies, and I wasn't sure about hurdy or gurdy as a token by itself. Like, I wasn't confident in that. But okay, what are we looking at here? We can always just dump consonants like this. Looking at what we can do here, though, where, you know, whoops, if we do something like gold, 24, and then we can kind of keep some of that stuff for play off an A or something. This thing is still staring at me the whole time. So yeah, looking at this, gotta remember Astro Typo is here, and the G is the worst tile at Scrabble, as his bot keeps telling me. I feel like maybe dumping it here is not too bad. Yeah, this is all closed off anyway, so let's go for it. Unless, like, maybe bold is better for... I mean, the sort of G plays with the Z are pretty similar to the B plays. Either way, you're going to, you know, keep something like this available. Let's do that. Oh, luckily we drew the N to make the G's slightly less bad as a tile in Scrabble. And yeah, Jello Mochas, I really do have to replay Galaxy properly at some point. It's been a long time since I've gone through it. I do have All-Stars on my Switch, and I was recently streaming a fair bit of Super Mario 3D World. But we may have to go back and just do a bit of a nostalgia trip through Galaxy at some point. But for now, we can just do that vicariously by playing the music on stream. Zori's L1 would have been nice. Well, I mean... No, neither sort of fiddling I was doing with QADI or QAID would have really permitted that. I was thinking ahead to like drawing into like ZEIN, or like I was weighing that against something like a drawing ZEDA or versus ZEIN, for instance, if I wanted to leave myself room to draw into Z play. I don't know if that's the right way to think about this stuff. It might not be. Okay, let's see what we are looking at here. We have Washi. I feel like I should know whether... Like, I feel like I've played Washi before. Yeah, no, it's I think it's Washi that's good, and maybe Wishy that's not, or something like that. There's some kind of set like that I have problems with. Yeah, no, I think that's what it is that Wishy is no good, but Washi is good. Because something can be washier. Let's just see if I actually have any Z play still available. ZAR is no longer. Looking at this thing here, even if it is just going to be something like, you know, dump a few tiles here, get rid of the G. Any place for... I feel like I've been leaving this thing open for way too long. But there's no P or F remaining, so that's not an issue. It's more that some of the pool is potentially bingo prone, and this lane in general could lead me into trouble, but I'm ahead by over 100, so I should just score and not worry too much, perhaps. Let me just think about this for a moment. Yeah, looking at the pool... Thinking about that, or, you know, we can also just use the Z now while we have the chance to score something with it, instead of waiting for something to present itself. Let's go with that, actually. I don't mind that too much. Oh, Churro, when I played Kadi, yeah, I think... I see what you were saying earlier now. I think that I get paranoid about keeping the queue for too long. And I think I was sort of thinking that, you know, Z plays are still going to be reasonable coming out of that if I play the queue off first, but Q plays might not be reasonable if I don't do something about the queue quickly. Again, I probably should have studied the board a little further before I made a snap decision like that, but I felt like, you know, even if I have to settle with a smaller play with a Z, that would likely be better than settling for a smaller play with a Q. But yeah, keeping the Q is like keeping the G. It means that you're fishing for Quag. But yeah, I definitely felt like, you know, the Z is kind of not just better in terms of equity value, but just in terms of the variance, just kind of giving you better possibilities to work with if things get blocked up like crazy. I'm definitely looking at the fact that I can potentially, given the right tiles, like if I have a U or something, you can, have tuft. So if we get into U trouble with the UUVW that we see in the pool, we should do something. I think the right thing to do at this point, with the margin I'm ahead, is to start locking up. He's going to lock up for me. Okay, that's great. I'll take it. What that means for playing out of this, though, is not so clear. This really looks locked up, this whole thing here. So, let's see what we can do. Okay, might even just play some stuff through here. I don't know. Or just, play off some tiles. Score decently, unduplicate, not open up stuff. Maybe that's the right way to think about it. He missed a folio with a leafier rack. Oh, because it's fillery. Yeah, fillery. Yeah, because if you're not sort of specifically thinking about the alphagram, it's maybe a bit easy to just miss out on fillery. Was oleo already down at that point? Yes, it was, because it was oleo and then party and then leafier. And yeah, zero radiography, going for the well, not quite the advanced Dawn Cloud opening. I guess it's kind of closing up at this point, but we get the idea. So, looking at what we're having here, it'll probably just be, tiny little plays here just to lock up hotspots and stay ahead. It's, very uncommon that I'll do this well against my opponents here, which some of you may know. Yawika, also a very, very strong chess player. Also an international master, actually, last I checked. Or was when he was active. I don't know much about chess titles in terms of how you retain them, so... But I think I should just lock up hotspots at this point. No point in choosing this for 16 over that. Ever. 6 tiles, UUSVER. Yeah, bag is empty, so we should maybe think about, just for the sake of practice, finding better outs. Or we could just get this over with. And... yeah, because, eventually we can do stuff like Lotto once... yeah, but because none of the... That's actually not too bad, because that gives me a spot for Warren. It will be unlikely to stay open, but the thing is my opponent can't really bomb that with very much either, unless there's something I'm not seeing. Yeah, we might as well just open that up. Threatened out into, it's not going to stay. I'll likely just wind up doing this anyway, but it will potentially create some space, and I do not think that with the UUV there, we're in danger of being outpaced or anything, so... yeah, I'm well aware that at this stage the Resign gang is probably getting a little bit fidgety, but I actually do appreciate, whether I'm ahead or behind, the sort of practice in seeing late game situations with congested boards. Because I find that I need to practice, so we can see how many suboptimal endgames we play, even if the result is decided either way. But we'll see how it goes. And about 30 seconds on his clock. And we'll just see what happens here. Obviously, first choice is just to go out. Second choice, probably... whoa, over here, depending on how that goes. Yeah, didn't think that would stay. Of course, then the question is, do I actually have a place to go after this with NR? I might not. Yes, I do. I've got Brins over here. SUU on that side. Let me think about the order here. Obviously, if I want out into... like, he's not going to do any kind of two-tile play over here. There's no tile to play through to use UUS, I think. So I think the right idea is to go for this first, and then go with the O and W elsewhere. Because we have a couple of different places. Whereas I don't necessarily have multiple places for this. Oh, he's almost down on the clock. That's not something I expected. But of course there was that huge 5-minute turn at the beginning. And thank you, Extra Typo. I'm glad we have some instant feedback here when I misplays or make some bad decisions, or alternatively make some decisions that are not as questionable as I think they are. But yeah, it looks like, first choice is going to be here, second choice is going to be here. He's not going to go out, so... and we'll take it. Okay, going to be a 500 game, so... yeah, it's a very tough opponent. We duel very often here, and we've had a lot of games that are a lot tighter than this one. And so yeah, Extra Typo, this club of course kind of alternates between NWL and Collins depending on who I'm playing. Let me just see how our situation is for pairings quickly, and thank you for the GG. And then we'll see if I have much time to step through this in the Examiner. I think I may have a bit of time, so we'll just do that quickly. Okay, so let's step through it. Just kind of exchanging some pleasantries. But not all of my opponents know that I stream these games, so I do tend to hide the chat in case... yeah, because we can get pretty personally chatty sometimes. But we'll take a look at what the analyzer says. Okay, so Pneumatic is correct. A couple of different positions here. Like, I don't really mind the volatility. I mean, I also knew the S-hook sort of, to the extent that I was confident about Pneumatic at all, so... yeah, I know why I was thinking about the phony, I guess, Sentima now. I was actually thinking of Sentimo with an O instead of an A. So that was the issue there. Oh, look at this. This is fantastic. Look at this. Hyemia. Hyemia, 2 spellings, the presence of puss in the blood. And A lot of really difficult finds here, actually. Paramane. Pianism. Not to be confused with pianism. But look at the Paemia. It's just wonderful find if you can get it, but you know, that with the parallel fit there, that's going to be a bit weird. And here's the Exarchal that we had spotted by Jellomokas in the chat much earlier. 1K man, welcome. So, yeah, Hex was reasonable given the circumstances, I think. Yeah, so for Exarchal, we'd need to have seen that. I don't know how the Telestrator got disabled here, but there we go. Ah, yes, this is the turn that he played a Rapius up here. Kind of dangled that. Look at this, Pterygia. And it's already a plural, so it's safe from S-hooks. Plural of Pterygium, a fleshy growth over the cornea. Difficult play to eyeball. Anyway, Grapius is going to go down. The calories. Escalar is I remember this being a big set with like Kohlers, Recalls, etc. But I actually have a ton of trouble with it. I think I was thinking of what was it? Seconal with the N, Seconal, and I always get those two Rex kind of blurred together. But Solacer, Oracles, tons of stuff that can go down. I think Calories, of course. If you see it, that's the play. Just one moment. Okay, oink. Kilos. Lots of stuff here. He did end up going with liking. Yeah, some of the stuff here, none of it would actually have blocked the spot that I had for Fastins or Fastins, depending on where you're from, apparently. I actually don't think I was aware of that as a sort of dialectic difference, as I was saying, but maybe it's just me. And yeah, because my opponent was telling me that he did totally expect that he should have seen something like Paramane. If not necessarily Paemia, which he definitely knows, but that's a difficult location, I think. Whoa, look at this fit for Dapper. Very fancy. Very dapper. So here's the play that's right, because I was sort of thinking about Hugh. And yeah, I should not have kept a D there in the first place, I think. You know, just for the sake of balance, it's definitely far preferred over... Actually, Hugh isn't even showing up in the analyzer here. Yeah, no particular reason to leave that open, because that's actually not safe from triples that go ST at the end. So I think, though, that the Y hook here was fundamentally not too bad an idea, though. I was pretty happy with it, anyhow. Jellomokas, yeah, I'm just playing off a big YouTube compilation of Galaxy tracks that just lumps a whole bunch of them together, including some of the variants that layer instruments. And so some things are going to loop back and forth. Because, you know, sometimes I just take those hour or 2 hour long playlists and I just let that manage itself. Look at this ultra dry. Wow. 2 places for ultra dry. Ultra dry, I mean, you know, it's just very, very dry. It's funny because I was already thinking of drying things with, like, I knew that ouch dryer wouldn't be something good, but I was looking at drying. Yeah, I don't know if I would have even tried ultra dry though. But it's a good one to know when you have that kind of rack. Lots of recommendations here, in fact, to, if you missed a bingo, burn the blank. Given the leave that we're dealing with, the tiles that we're dealing with, you can see that most of the recommendations do obviously prefer to use the D, both for points and leave. And yeah, this is the turn where my opponent missed a Fillory. He actually did tell me afterwards that he was kind of dwelling on that, knowing that he was missing some kind of anagram, I think. But okay, so what are we looking at here? Past Fillory and Leafier. Okay, here's Zariba. Yeah, okay, so interestingly enough, that evaluates very well just given how much it scores, despite keeping the Q, and of course, you know, you have Zori here with BDQ. I feel like I don't want to just go with equity for this, though. Like, I think positionally speaking, the Q is a lot worse than what the evaluation is saying. And so I'm kind of comfortable playing this, even though it's for much less. Because sort of thinking ahead, I mean, I think positionally speaking, the Q is not in a good place on this board. And momentarily saying that it's, yeah, it's a very strong player that I was playing against. We just had a game where I just had a bit of a blowout. And the thing is, it does happen between, you know, opponents that are of even highly varying skill levels in Scrabble all the time, even you know, just due to the luck factor. But over time, when you play many games, it kind of averages out to the win rates that you would expect against somebody. But yeah, it's a very strong player, actually. I usually do not have a win that convincing against him. But the tiles were very cooperative here, and he had a couple of big misses on his side, so... Look at this fit over here with Dashi. What did I miss with a Z over here? Izzard. Yeah, I was looking at IZAR, and I just completely forgot about Dashi. And I didn't end up playing that regardless because I was busy doing weird rack management up there. So I think if I had thought about this location as hard as I said, I should have played it right away. I think it was definitely correct to have gone for that instead. So yeah, getting into some weird racks here. I mean, that actually looks decent. If... What does he do instead? New? Yeah, I actually kind of think that this is significantly better. But again, you know, big parallels like that. Sometimes even very experienced players can have a bit of tunnel vision. Zag is going to evaluate well here, that's correct. Loungy. Yeah, just to get rid of some stuff, and I mean, I guess the Y is not great, but you would be counting on something like a vowel start or drawing a B for a B start, I guess. So yeah, Dong, I don't know what I think about Dong with that rack. Keeping SUY, I kind of feel like this was not the best. it doesn't really do much in that stage. But of course, I've got such a lead at that stage that late in the game he might not be playing for the win so much. Yeah, still kind of... oh, yeah, because I saw bet and I didn't see bent. And I feel like maybe leaving one in the bag might have affected the decision, but with UUVW in there, maybe not. But you can see that it is totally possible for my opponent to have something decent that just wouldn't go down anywhere. Like a good sevens rack is definitely possible there. But anyway, let's just speed through this quickly. I mean, it's a pretty decisive game here. And we did talk through the end game quite a bit. Yeah, interesting that it sort of expects keeping UUV with letting me go out to be actually okay, just given the number of points there, but we've got our third pairing coming up in just a moment, so we'll get into that. Okay, just due to the way that pairings are shaking out today, I actually have a rematch, which is very rare for this club, but we had a couple of people kind of drop in and out today, so I will be replaying my opponent from the first round, and it will be the third NWL game for the day, which is also uncommon given how many Collins players I usually run up against here. So let's just get into that. Okay. Yeah, because I think we had somebody drop out earlier. So, a bit of a small pool to work with when it comes to the Division A table today. Okay, so I am first. Let's see what we can do here. Unfortunately, this is not going to be tactics, least of all tactics for 47. I feel like we should just do something simple and just go cat. Maybe. Oh, it's not my turn. I always read the top line as being myself, even though that's not the case. The top line is who's going first. For some reason, I always read the top line as myself when I start a game, and whoops. Anyway, so Der Yogurtos, speaking of the cat gang, here's a little Easter egg in this thing here. You type in cat cam. I'm going to pause the Galaxy music for just a second. You get this. So yeah, this is just the cat cam music from Wanderer 15, who is, one of the leading streamers in this scene. We'll just let that play for a bit, who knows. While you can all post your cats. Okay, so take two with this rack, which now that it's finally my turn. Not quite something like touches. Hope the volume balance is okay, by the way. I know that can be rather loud. I might actually just go attach or something. 22. I may be missing something. Let's check the E just to be absolutely sure I'm not missing anything really critical. And let's just go back to the Galaxy. Okay, so what was I even doing? Ah, yes. Let me just see if I've missed something here. High probability. E looks like it's decent potential. No, you know what? Let's just turn over some tiles. Okay, this might be something. Looking at the LY ending, looking at the ILY ending. Like riskily or something. We should, of course, also look at things that are going to play as 8s. You know, like anything that would say go through a T. And of course, it might not be L there. It might be something else. I probably just will go for something I can hit, like riskily. This is a much better position, obviously. I don't really want to spend too long with this kind of rack. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to do too much better apart from hitting doubles, so let's just do it. I guess this would take something like an F in front, possibly a B, maybe? No, just briskly, but it would definitely take an F, I would say. I would assume so, anyway. Did I miss ecstatic? Wow, okay. That's a big miss. I should actually know that call. Especially as something that's, you know, not that you're going to see it that often as an A hook in front of static, but I've definitely seen ecstatic sort of within, if not my probability range, then, you know, for some reason it has come up. So that's just a miss. And that happens. That's the level of play we're dealing with here sometimes. And yeah, Zero, I got a Foundering gift sub today as well. Got one from Florin. Was very kind and generous. Q. I mean, it's not good enough a leave to just be dumping QI, I think. I don't want to be stuck with it either, but looking at this spot here to see if there's anything else I can do. You know, like if I... Let's try to think about something that would go down here, but... I want something like this is not too bad, except of course you would have something like maybe the B hook there that could get me into trouble. Keeping Q with EE though, I mean, unless I'm specifically going for queen, that's kind of bad. I may just dump the Q somewhere inoffensive, to be honest. Let me think about this, because I think this is exactly the kind of situation that our occasional visitor strategy talks about when he says he hates what QI has done to the game. In terms of creating that kind of situation where it's just the, if not optimal thing to do, then certainly something that just kind of is this dummy filler play. So anyway, this was the kind of thing I wanted earlier, like something like whoops, pork. It would be pretty vulnerable to a Y underneath. I actually wish I had the Y to go with it. And pork, I'm trying to remember here, but I don't think it actually takes the S hook, does it? I feel like I know that spork is a phony in this lexicon, although I may be wrong. I feel like it's one of those things that I've definitely considered in the past, where, like, if you play enough Scrabble, you definitely notice stuff that is unexpectedly phony, and I believe that spork actually is that. Although, of course, you would have something like an S play in front of a kit as well. I should look at things that we can do here, just in case. No, I actually kind of like this. Assuming there's no spork, which I don't think there is, but... let me just look at this carefully in case I'm missing something significantly better. Which I may be. No, I like that. I think I like it. I don't like the S hook in front of Kit, but I'm behind right now, and I could actually use something like that potentially. Not too fond of the double ends here. I feel like I don't have anything. Okay. So we'll see what we can do here. Fairly close score so far. Even that deleting didn't hit too hard. QI was kind of a small play that I still have some second thoughts about, but actually no, just given the alternatives in that turn, maybe that was okay. And I did end up drawing to P, which, you know, we'll just think of that as a fish. You go fishing and you fish up some pork. Okay, we're going to do a quick music switch here while I have the opportunity. Now, let's see. Adagio. Oh, very vowel heavy wreck on that side. I feel like something like Neon, that would still have 2 vowels, 20 vowels and 31 consonants in the pool. Maybe that's not too terrible. The A hook here would be killed, but it's not like we had, you know, Nortina or something anyway. This lane would be open, this lane would be open. This doesn't introduce too much danger. Unless I have a better vowel jump to take care of the I think we'll just probably go with something like that. You know, like if we have like lean or something, or lone, which would of course give me the R hook. In fact, maybe that's not too bad, because I am trying to build towards a bingo anyway, and I have the R for the hook. Let's do it. Okay, this is still the G, which, you know, supposedly the worst tile in Scrabble. The score is close enough that I should not be afraid to set things up for myself, I think. Not that I can use it, but... we'll see. Looking at this... this looks familiar. But it's because it reminds me of something else, but I'm not sure what. A hook here might be okay. We just, well, I don't know about that. That's going to open up the massive S. Jellymochas, this is kind of a mix from the Yoshi series. This is from Crafted World. Let's see if we can do something here. I don't really like leaving this S hook open when I have no S. But it does kind of work a little bit if I have something to do with the E here, for instance. And I still have this to myself. Yeah, looking at some alternatives to just get rid of that stuff. I don't actually like that. I feel like I could get punished pretty hard for this, but, you know, this is already kind of an S lane, technically. We're just kind of making it worse. That's kind of a leave management thing at this point. Looking at what else I can do here. Nah, let's just take it. That's probably a bad idea. No T for overtone. No D for overdone. We'll just try to do something about the V situation. Over anything here? I don't know. Okay. Always have a bit of tunnel vision for the over prefix when I am actually holding it. It does get you to bingos from time to time, but not as much as I would like. Thinking about this position here, if we can do something. Not quite, because the L is actually a bit awkward. Maybe something here, yeah. Like Rove. I mean, I don't quite like the hook that leads down to the triple, but... And of course this gives up on keeping the R for the loner. I might just go Rev here, in fact. We have the second E. Oh, I don't like the leave, though. And that also still gets rid of the R. Let's just do it. We might get hit, but, you know, there's so many places at this point where we'll get hit by an S. That's, with SSS blank still in the bag, this is deeply incautious. It is going to tie the game at 2-11, though, and that is going to look fancy. But yeah, lots of stuff that's going to go here. Well, at least the R and the S, and who knows. And let's think about what to do with what I have remaining here, which... N will go here, E will go here. Maybe we can have something down this way. Interesting thing to consider that we haven't had a chance to do anything useful with is that attach will take the E hook. If we, you know, come up with something good that would go here. So, just a position to keep in mind for later, in case it becomes useful. Yeah, I don't know about this turn, though. Obviously, we still have this massive danger zone over here that was very much a problem of my own making. Might even just go for something simple here, like... this is going to make the S situation even more volatile, but... something like Fob. Still looking at this. It is kind of uncomfortably volatile right now in terms of, you know, having SSS blank still available, and lots of stuff that can happen with it. Reviews, okay. So he's going to burn an S there. The S, though, is going to practically be an extra 20, so I can see why. Interesting that he would choose that over doing something like revs here. Probably because of the U. Just gonna look at this quickly to see if maybe anything will end with the N. If not, we might just do something simple like F'd. Maybe that's not great. Interesting that one S would be burnt that way, though. I actually don't know in this situation whether he's holding onto the second one. Normally you would think so, but this is enough of a bump in points that you would think that if he's holding the second S, the plays a bit more open, but then the second S also does go here, so that might just not tell me anything useful whatsoever. Yeah, this is not very many points. Not that good. Something like font here is not too bad, given the vowel consonant balance. 22 points. Yeah, A, B, E is a leave versus this. Yeah, we should draw into bag, actually. Let's just do it. I have my doubts about this. But let's do it. Yeah, too many vowels. Okay. I feel like this actually is close to something, though, that there actually is... Oh no, I'm thinking of stuff like aboideau and aboiteau. That's... Like, I know there are some really vowel-heavy bingos with the B. But this is not going to be it. Okay, so yeah, maybe that was not smart. Let's see what to do here. And Double J, welcome. Got way too many vowels to deal with here. I feel like I really do need to dump them. What's my policy on talking about the rack on the current board? Don't spoil the play for me, obviously. Like, don't suggest plays for me, but if I miss something, like after I play, then you can talk about the rack that I was previously holding. And because, you know, I am playing against a regular group of people I do know from things like over-the-board tournaments, and we don't want any suspicion of cheating or outside assistance, that's all. Yeah, it's kind of regretting at this point that it's not a Collins game, given that there are a lot of U positions I really could have used here. But thank you for the follow. I don't know about this turn. I don't know. I can't just play stuff like that. Yeah, I'm a little bit stuck on this one. Maybe I should be... I might even... Well, I know. I don't want to exchange at risk, do I? I'm 47 behind, but if I don't have like a decent equity play, that's not the worst idea. Oh, let's open up a bit, maybe. Oba or Boa? Let's go Boa. I was thinking I would draw into some consonants. I just really didn't want to keep the U. I don't know about that turn. I have to look at that one afterwards. I don't feel like I made a good choice, but I didn't see a good play there. 47 behind at that point. Maybe drawing into the bag is not too bad an idea with SS blank potentially available, and depending on how I'm reading my opponent's most recent plays, being reviews and Brave. Yeah, I was probably thinking about stuff like Abulia when I was thinking about the AB beginning, the ABO beginning specifically, because I looked at how many vowels I had and was thinking like Abwado, Abato, but the L would obviously not play with that. Okay, so this will actually be a place that I can go with the E, but I have nothing good to actually fit there. Nothing good whatsoever. I should actually try to see if I would have anything that would fit, but I'm in big trouble here, actually. Yeah, I'm in a pretty tough situation. Yeah, maybe keeping the U out of the last turn was pretty questionable. But I just don't have anything to deal with this. Yeah, I was probably thinking of Abulia. I do know Abulia. I just have to think about this because X is still in the bag. X is not likely to do much apart from like maybe over here. This with SSEE blank still in the bag. Like this, I feel like I'm just going to get killed here if I don't deal with it, but I don't have a good way to deal with it. Like I just don't have anything that goes there. Like I'm not just going to dump that for maybe. And dump it for 24, I guess it does deny my opponent's play, but it is going to leave me with a lot of guilt, as you can see. And that guilt will have nowhere to go. I don't like this at all. About 50 behind. Yeah, score, deny that position. Okay, let's do it. I don't like it. I feel like I'm on a bit of a slide here where I'm kind of locking myself into losing Rex. And Tactics 47, thank you for staying for so long. Always glad to have you here. Ooh, yikes. I knew that would hit me eventually. That hit me quite a bit harder than I hoped it would. Unfortunately, even if the position were available, it does not take HOR in front. Now let's see. Cruxes, yeah. And look at the pool that with the remaining pool, my opponent's actually, like I don't know if there would be anything through the F that would actually be an 8 with say the J, but yeah. So this is the winning play. With that pool, I don't have a win from here. Really do not think so. Ideally, I'd, you know, find some way to deny something here, but... Oh, Jellimochas, it's a Harry Potter thing. Definitely not in a dictionary. Unless you're playing like the Potter common word list. Dump the Q in Quidditch. Yeah, I am kind of stuck here. I mean, this is a lost game after that play, like, but even so, Might even just have to, you know, do some kind of silly play up here. Or just looking for some kind of sequence to get out of this. And yeah, Jellimokas, that is quite correct on the track. I actually did have the opportunity to replay all of Yoshi's Island last year, just kind of on a whim. And doing 100% in that game is a lot huger than I remembered. I am running low on time. I gotta decide something here. I don't really have anything good. I think I just need to, like, take the loss, basically. A was the last tile in the bag. I don't know. Like, I was thinking about, like, potentially blocking off this. Because I think without the J, I was thinking sort of if J is the last tile in the bag, maybe there's something here, like, you know, Flinders or something. Oh, wow, okay, yeah. Don't even have the A to deal with that, so. Alright, we brought that on ourselves. That was not great. So. Yeah, unfortunately, X not really in the most convenient position for any ataxia. I'm not even going to be able to do much here. It's, you know, just going to be a play for a few minor points. Trying to see if there's anything less embarrassing here. But I don't think there is. At least not... Like, this is another, you know, suddenly I wish I were in Colin's turn, where having the A here, or having an AIA elsewhere or something would have been nice, but at this point, yeah, we just take a loss. I mean, that's payback for the game we had earlier. I should look over this one. There were a lot of turns I was not happy with at all. Ajita, yeah. I was low on time. I just didn't see it in time. I do know it. I just didn't have that. And yeah, let's just go back through the examiner quickly just to see some of the disasters in the making. So, yeah, this was where he started with Haughty. I find it sort of interesting that it evaluates better, well, just from the score, I guess. Ecstatic, I missed. That was well called earlier. Should not have missed that. And unstable, not stable, resistant to sudden change or position. Yeah, so basically not static. Okay, let's move on to the next turn here. Deleting, which is kind of like deleting, except once you delete T, it is in fact the same thing. I can see why he would go for a safe position there, though. Not too much of a point sacrifice. Double J, do I ever play viewers? I haven't yet, because the only Scrabble streams I've been able to fit in are these ones on my regular club schedule. I'm trying to find an additional time to do Scrabble and, you know, do some other programming, like some Blitz or possibly some viewer matches or something like that. The main reason I haven't done that yet is because usually I'm not able to stream at this hour. Usually I'm, for North America, a very late night streamer. Usually because I just don't have that much flexibility during hours when most Scrabble people are online, so if I can find a good time, I would like to do that sometime, but thanks for suggesting that. So riskily, risibly, you know, pretty much very similar. And Ilium here, ooh, good fit. That's gonna take something in front though, right? Ilium, I feel like it's a C for sure, and Cilium and Millium, I think. Right? Yeah. And yeah, Double J, thank you. I am going to be shutting off after I'm finished going through the analyzer for this game. So thank you to everybody who came in with the raids earlier today, and I hope you enjoyed the games even with this very mistake-prone play down in 1500 land. So yeah, Kier, Yonker, lots of stuff that I wasn't thinking of. Yeah, I was not really looking at this stage. I don't think I would have played that there anyway, though, just given how bad the O is. You know, for lanes like this and hotspots like that. QI, yeah, this was the QI turn. And I guess high turnover would have been fine. Like, here would probably not have been too bad. Given that the E's are not too compatible with the Q anyway. Relative to the other vowels. I think high turnover is actually, like, I actually really like courage in here. As a suggestion. Because, yeah, you're keeping Q, but at least you're potentially drawing into something you can do with it. Like, what I wouldn't have wanted to do is a small play that keeps Q. I think that would not really be defensible. But I really didn't know about this turn. Like, QI just felt like a bit of a dumb thing, but I just didn't really see the high turnover plays that would, you know, get me into a better spot with it, potentially. Anyways, Zyme is pretty clearly what to do here, I think. Unless you want to just close off the S hook. Okay. What do we got here? Kepi... Yeah, yeah. This was the kind of play I was looking for later. I was not looking for it hard enough at this stage in the game, and I kind of regret that because there were definitely a lot of things that could have fit. So I went for pork there instead. Pork actually does evaluate decently. Oh yeah, we have to just check this one thing. So yeah, Spork is Collins only, which it's I think a word that actually really does kind of capture the character of Collins in some ways. A little bit of both, right? So Saupods, as it were. Yeah, I was looking at the Z hook. I just didn't really consider that very carefully. And this was my opponent's rack, rather. But I was looking at a Z hook on my turn afterwards, I mean. Sort of interesting that it goes for a Dajo there. A Dajo... Yeah, I mean, I kind of read this as some kind of vowel dump. It was not actually as heavy on vowels as I thought he was, but... whatever, that works. Yeah, I wasn't really looking at this hard enough, like this whole thing. I was kind of looking at this area. Oh yeah, because this was where I played a lone, thinking that it would draw into something decent that would hook onto a loner. I don't remember, actually, what we have for back hooks on lone. Yeah, it's just the R hook. I was thinking that, because I was thinking there's definitely no way it takes S or something. I thought it was just R. Mohel. Lots of stuff to do here. I can kind of see why he wouldn't want to give me the triple lane, though, so... Nag, of course, that's the thing that gets me into trouble with the S much later, but I wouldn't know that at this point in the game when I'm just trying to keep things even. Glebe, yeah, again, positionally, I can see why he would prefer that. Keeping EN, not bad at all. Roven, oh, you know what? I don't think I knew, at least confidently, the N hook on Rove. Or I would have looked at that much sooner as something I could do with that spot after playing Rove. Because I was thinking of Rover, I was thinking of Roves, I don't think I was actually thinking of Roven. Okay, so that's definitely one thing that I just totally overlooked as a hook. Reviews, yeah, good find there. And yeah, as I suspected, he was not holding any additional S. He was just using it for the plus 20. I was considering that again with revs, but I think he wanted to prioritize dumping the U and would score enough that he doesn't particularly need to give himself the triple lane there. Yeah, looked at Fab, looked at fonts. I regretted keeping this many vowels once I drew out of that, of course. I think Fab actually is strictly better, in fact. I think when I saw the N hook on ER, maybe that was just a bit of tunnel vision, but yeah, this is so much better. It looks comparatively great, in fact. Yeah, that's going to be his choice of plays, really. Something is going to remain duplicated. Yeah, this turn, look at this. Best suggestion here is just to do that. Or here, Obia... I guess that was kind of approximately what I was going for, you know, in terms of opening up. I guess with the X still available, I wouldn't have done Obia. I may have kind of considered it in the back of my mind and just shied away from it because of the X situation, although as the player who's behind and also just reading what my opponent has, I don't know if that would have been okay, actually. Just to try to draw into something there. But yeah, very consonant heavy on his side. That's going to be the play, really. Especially if he has a follow-up, which he does with the E. Yeah. I can see why he would prefer to keep the vowel there. Interestingly enough, yeah, tu there, you here. So none of this is very good in terms of leave. You can see that all of these kind of have leaves that evaluate negatively. And with so few in the bag, not a great situation. This is going to be cruxes, and at this point he just wins. Yeah, that just hits way too hard. Fugal! Oh, should have seen that, actually. That's an easy one to see. Considering that I am just fiddling around at this point. But yeah, actually, with a J... So supposing J is in the bag, I think that actually is some stuff. Let me just... fade-ins in a blank, right? Does the bot handle blanks? No, it doesn't actually. Unless... okay, no, there is something there. It's just that that's not how you try to do it in the bot. It is... yeah. That's the one that's good in NWL. I don't actually know how to do it in the bot. In terms of... there we go. Question mark, of course. Right, because with the pattern it takes the dot. That's why I didn't know it. But that's how it goes. That, at this point, is just kind of a lost game. So a couple of decisions I really didn't like in this game. I don't know if there was one that was specifically like a game-losing play or something, but I definitely left S volatilities open for too long without actually drawing the bag very much. I was looking at this stuff a little bit too late. Really didn't know what to do with handling the queue, and I think drawing well into something else to kind of counterbalance keeping the queue might have been a better idea. Endgame, of course, was just a mess. It was, just playing off tiles for the sake of it. I felt like it was definitely a lost game after this, though, and even after this, I thought that I was a bit trapped as the player who was behind. But yeah, this was maybe questionable. Lots of stuff that could have been done better. Not too many big misses, at least. Some word knowledge issues like the end hook on Rove. But anyway, so that's the post-mortem, I guess. 2 wins, 1 loss today. That's pretty much going to be it for this stream. So thank you once again, everybody who joined me for this session. We try to do this on stream every week, and I've done it fairly regularly recently. For those who are new here from the Scrabble side, I am usually a bit of a late-night streamer. We usually do Mario Maker through the week, but I'm trying to find some additional day for Woogles, OMG words, whatever you call it. With that said, I am going to tap out of here and probably look around for a raid. Once I see who's actually online. And we don't have actually any Scrabble streamers on today, I don't think. Oh no, that's because Extra Typo is tagged as just chatting right now before he has his match at 10 p.m. So I'm going to send you over to Josh, although I'm sure a bunch of you are over there already. So we'll send you over there in just a moment. In the meantime, thanks everyone for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Have a good evening, good night, etc., wherever you are, and have fun at your next destination. Fare thee well.